The Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge is here, and you can pre-order it now. I've got a link in the description, affiliate link. You can check that out. Get up to $630 enhanced maximum trade-in credit and free storage upgrade to 512 if you pre-order it. That's a pretty good deal. But the big question is, should you pre-order it? And that's what I want to talk about in this video because I've got a lot of negative feedback, not just about my hairline, but about the phone in general. There's a lot of people who are like, who is this phone for? I'm not buying this phone. I'm not switching over from my S25 Ultra, which you absolutely shouldn't be doing anyway. Like, that's a no-brainer, but I appreciate the comment. But should you buy it? And is it actually a good phone? I mean, it is a good phone, but there's really two caveats when it comes to this device. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I like about it. I like how thin it is. I like the design. I like the way it looks. And I like that it's slimmer, it's sleeker, it's thinner, all those great things. You still get the 200 megapixel camera. You still get the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. You still get a lot of nice stuff. But what you don't get is the battery, right? And the battery in this thing is going to be 3,900 milliamps. I don't know why they didn't put a larger one in it. I don't know why they didn't go ahead and put one of the graphite batteries in there. I don't know why they didn't do a lot of things when it comes to the battery. But when you take a look at the S25 Ultra, 5,000 milliamp battery, S25 Edge, 3,900 milliamp battery. Will that get you through the day? Some people it will. Probably 60 to 70% of people, it'll probably last all day. If you're one of those upper echelon battery eaters like I am, well, I'm in a different category. I'm in like a league of my own with very few people where I kill basically every phone every day. It doesn't matter if it's got a 6,000 milliamp battery or a 5,000 or 4,000 or whatever. Most people are not like that. And people need to understand, or at least people that watch my videos, this phone is not for tech enthusiasts. This is not for the one percenters whenever it comes to smartphone users. This is not a phone for people who need an Ultra. This phone is for people who like the bigger screen, who want to have a better camera, don't care about the telephoto, and just don't sit on their phone all day long. And there's a lot of those people. This is probably the most iPhone-esque Samsung phone they've ever made. And it's all about the design. It's all about this kind of new thing. Maybe they think it's trendy. Maybe Samsung thinks this will catch on. Maybe the phone only exists because Apple's making one. It reminds me of this show I used to watch. It was called Red versus Blue. It was based off of Halo. And if you ever watch this, it's hilarious. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. Red versus Blue. Even like the first episode. But they're talking about how they've got these two bases. It's based off of this canyon map. And it's like a capture the flag based map. There's one little castle, one base in one end, one base in the other end. It's this box canyon. Like there's no way in, no way out. And the red guys are sitting there, or the green guys are blue, and they're like, "Why do we have a base over here? Like, why are you even here? Like, we're only here because they're there. If they weren't here, we wouldn't be here. Like, what's the point, right?" So I know there's some speculation about that on this phone, and maybe if they didn't find out that Apple is making a very similar phone, Samsung wouldn't do it. But they got to compete. Like Apple is, they're Apple, they're a big company, they got the big market share, and then Samsung is kind of like number two, definitely number one Android manufacturer here in the U.S. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, maybe that has something to do with it, but they're also trying something new. And I talked to Samsung, and they're like, look, people have asked for this. And maybe that's hard to believe. Maybe it's as hard to believe as Samsung saying, hey, less than 1% of people use the Bluetooth functionality on the S Pen. I mean, it's based off of some data they got somewhere. So I'm sure some people want this phone. Maybe people are tired of it. Like, I don't like these big boxy phones. I like the benefits. I like the large screen. I like all that stuff. But one of the things I've been saying over and over and over and over again, one of the reasons why I love the S25 Ultra so much is because they made it skinnier. They made it thinner. They made the corners flat. I mean, the edges flat, the sides. They made the corners rounded. The ergonomics are everything. And when you're holding a phone and you're carrying a phone, carrying one that feels comfortable, that feels premium, that's easy to hold on to, that looks nice, it means a lot. Like, it really does mean a lot. So that's one of the small changes That's one of the small changes that they made that just made the S25 Ultra so nice for me, and I really enjoy carrying it around. So when it comes to the S25 Edge, I think it does look appealing. I think it will appeal to some folks. And I think the way that it's priced, because it's not the Plus, like the Plus is $999. This is $1099, starts with $256. Again, if you pre-order it, and you've got all the way up till May 30th, because that's when they launch. If you pre-order it, you can get the free 512. So 512 at $1099. If you get $630 max trade-in credit, maybe you pay $500 out of pocket. I think that's a pretty good deal. If you've got something laying around that qualifies for that max trade-in value, that's not bad. But I think there is a market for it. And people are tired of the same old. And I think phone manufacturers do want to make phones smaller. But to do that, one, you got to create it. You got to design it. You got to figure out what can go, what can't go. And we're at a place now where the components, especially like the chip, is smaller. The Snapdragon 8 Elite processor is basically like 40% more power battery efficient than the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3. So a few years ago, we couldn't do this. And now they can. So I guess they're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and do this. And I'm okay with that. And another thing people need to understand is it's okay for this phone to exist. I have so many people in the comments, I'm not buying it. This isn't for me. This is stupid. Why did they even make this? Obviously, they didn't make it for you. I don't complain when I walk into HEB or I walk into Walmart and there's 12 different flavors of Gatorade and I only like 2 of them. I don't like the other flavors. I don't want them. I don't go to a Mexican food restaurant and order food I don't want. So if you don't want the phone, that's fine. Nobody's twisting your arm. Nobody's trying to make you buy the phone. Samsung, based off of their internal research and what people said, what they wanted, they're bringing it. And, well, now the phone is here. Is it for everybody? No. Does it check a box? Yes. Is it something that's available? Is it something that if you want to buy it that you could use? Sure. And 3,900 milliamps is not great. But I think back to the days of when we had the Z Flip. Remember when that sucker had like, I think it was a 2,900 milliamp battery, 3,300 milliamp battery. And back then, that would last me about 4.5 hours of screen on time. It would get me till I could get home and plug it in the charger in the evening. So, like 3 or 4 processor generations away, 40% more power efficient, 3,900 milliamp battery. Like that's going to go a lot farther than it would have just last year. It's going to go way farther than it would have gone 2 or 3 years ago. So I don't think it's any stretch of the imagination that you could get 5.5 hours screen on time out of this. I mean, I've even used the iPhone SE 2022 recently, and it's got like a 1,921 milliamp battery. That would last me 4 or 5 hours of screen on time. So I think that it's doable for most people who probably want this phone. Like, this isn't a phone for power users. It's not a phone really that people are going to sit there and multitask and use an S Pen on, use DeX. I mean, you can do those things, but it's not really a super high priority. And honestly, I got to look and see if it has DeX. I don't remember. I didn't pay attention when I was looking at the phone the other day. But that stuff's what the Ultra's for. And if you want the Ultra, get the Ultra. And honestly, I think the Ultra is about the same price as the S25 Edge right now, even on Samsung. So you have choices. And there's nothing wrong with choices. So I don't know why everybody's wrapped around the axle and been out of shape. And then everybody seems to be, well, at least the Apple fans are really pissed off that I've talked so much trash about the iPhone 17 Air. It's not here yet. I get that. What we do have, though, is a pretty certain foundation knowing it's going to have one camera. I am pissed off about the $600 iPhone that has one camera. Of course, I'm going to be upset about this potentially $800 to $1,000 phone with one camera. The S25 Edge has 2 cameras. The iPhone 17 Air is probably going to be 60 hertz. This is 120 hertz. The iPhone Air is probably going to be full HD plus. This is Quad HD plus. The iPhone probably won't even have wireless charging. Well, it may, because they're going to have to put on the battery bank. So it'll probably be there. But still, the stuff that I'm seeing and hearing about it, I'm not impressed. And I don't have any faith in Apple. I'm sorry. They'll charge you $500-$600 for a rinky-dink phone with one camera with 10-year-old technology. So that's kind of where I stand on that. But I'll make a formal assessment once it gets here. And if it's good, I'll say that it's good. I have no problem with that. But I just don't have a lot of confidence in Apple to not rip people off. Samsung, I don't think they're ripping people off with this phone, and that's the big difference here. Is it worth it? Maybe. I mean, if it could be worth it to you. Is it a phone that I would normally go out and go buy? Maybe, just because I like the novelty factor, and I don't use the S Pen a lot with my Ultra. I use it a lot with my Fold, but I use it a lot less with the Ultra, just because the landscape is smaller. It's funny because when I use my Z Fold 6, I use the S Pen all the time. Like, if I'm using it, I'm likely using the S Pen. Not so much with this one. So, and I could see myself using it, but the big Achilles heel would be the battery. It would be something that probably wouldn't last me all day. I would probably use it for a couple of weeks and be like, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. I need to go back to my Ultra. The phone's not for everybody. It won't be for everybody. But if you're one of those people that you care about looks, you care about the design, you care about having a premium camera, and you care about having something that's slim, that looks cool, that's novel, that not everybody else has, and you'll be able to get some good deals through the carriers as well. So this could be something that if you want it, it'll probably make you happy. And there's going to be people that think they want it, and then they'll go get it and realize, okay, the battery life is just, it's not good enough for me. Like, I can't do this. But that happens a lot, right? I mean, I have people that complain about the 5,000 milliamp battery on the S25 Ultra. I mean, it happens. So if you're complaining about a 5,000 milliamp battery, you probably don't want to drop down to a 3,900. But that's kind of it. I think the phone's worth it for people that are interested in it. People that are complaining and upset, you weren't going to buy it anyway. The phone's obviously not for you. And this phone is not, they're going to make 10 million of these phones. They're not going to make, they'll probably sell a few million of them. And that'll allow them to check the box. That'll put the other form factor out there. And the important thing here is choice. Choice is important. The more choices we have, the better. I don't know why we would want less choices. I know that people are like, would like to see the silicone battery in here, would still like to see it slimmer, would still like to see it, with like a 5,000 milliamp battery. I think 4,500, 4,400 is probably a good sweet spot. But then there's the other thing, is the telephoto. There's no telephoto lens. Do I care? I wish it was there, but I just switched from my Ultra to the Motorola Razr Ultra, which has no telephoto, and I'm perfectly fine without it. I mean, I wish that I had it. It would be really nice to be there. I mean, of course, I wish all the features were in all the phones. I wish we still had SD card slots. I wish we still had headphone jacks. I wish we still had all these things, but we do not. So this is one of those things where kind of a narrow subset field of people that this phone's for. It does have compromises. It is the first generation, but I think it's a really sexy phone, and it's so nice. Like, go look at this thing at Best Buy. Like, go in there, pick it up, hold it, and you'll be like, okay, I see what the big deal is with this phone. But anyway, that's all I've got. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. I've been kind of under the weather, but it's just all this talking the last few days. I know it might make some people happy. It would certainly make my wife happy if I lost my voice. But yeah, that's all I got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. Again, I got an affiliate link in the description. If you're interested in getting one, you can check it out, go that route, and take advantage of the deals, the free double the storage upgrade, $630 enhanced trade-in value, and if you go through the carriers, they've got some good deals too. So that's all I got. As always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.